Arma 1! Sorry for the lateness and the tardiness. But it's okay, guys. There's a reason for it, and you all know why, and we're going to get to that later. May as well just start it off this way. This... Hold on, you know what? Let's just check it. Alright. Okay, this is... Between the Barrett and me, y'all already kind of know if you've seen me kind of do... I started my channel kind of weird, I'll admit. Starting with a best of the year thing. Not though, when I did it just to see if my main normal just thing I just use on YouTube thing would work instead of the channel I was setting up for the channel to do the channel, which didn't work, and why I stuck with Facebook for a while. Which kind of screwed me over, I think. I might have. But anyway. And through that, I had mentioned about Coma Ecliptic, which I have back here somewhere in this car. Show yourself, you bastard. Show yourself. I know you're here. Ah, fuck. I can find it later. For the next half. Continue to the Gallows, as you've heard, was our first taste of this, and some were here and there about it. For the most part, a lot of people seem to have bitched about Coma Ecliptic. I personally like the record. And I personally think that record gets kind of underrated and should honestly be considered the perfect ease a newbie into record. Is it their best? No. Their best is really, we all know, is Colors, which I know I also have. Where in the fuck are you? Come on, I know I had you somewhere, bastards. Fuck. I will find you. You bastards. I know I have you somewhere. Yeah, enjoy me rambling there. Now, at first I was going to have this be sort of like a rant and rave thing, too, because, well, you see, we start off with this album, which is 6 tracks. And, of course, the album I didn't feel was complete without the other half, which I do have, and I wound up managing to get early. Figure that in. And we'll get to that part in a minute, because this is going to be all condensed into one part. And for the most part, this kind of deals with a similar topic as to what Coma Ecliptic was, which was basically some dude who wound up in a coma and is in this weird fantasy-like world, and mostly dealing with dreams. Or at least his dreams that is this fantasy type world is from him. That is what's been playing into his mind in a coma. And whether or not it's really the afterlife or just, dreams or whatever. And for some reason, some people felt it was boring. I didn't. I liked the ride I got. A lot, actually. I even put it as considerably one of my best albums of that year. Though not in a proper way. That was when my channel was starting. And so I have for this channel, Between the Barrett and Me, it's become kind of special, as, it's one of my few proggier bands that I started to become more enveloped into. And I've known about them for years, but never got into them because I've, never could adjust properly to the more scream vocals, or at least I never could find or at least I was more stuck in the metalcore type of thing, or whatever new metal had to offer you. And we all know how those turned out. Some of us do. But for me, this album, Them to Gallows, is good. For the most part, the way the lyric sheets tell me, each are kind of separated out into certain points of certain time frames of when things had happened within this storyline, which is essentially, according to this one, they're kind of broken down. It seems like you start off with Night 1, which is Condemned to the Gallows. Then they mention a Day 2 with track 2 of House of Oregon. Night 4 with Yellow Eyes, and then before the events that happen, which Millions. Then some instrumental, Gold Distance, which I guess is supposed to lead to the rehearsal of some sort, blot. And then of course, for the second half, which we'll talk a little bit more about later, Night 6, which follows up from that track, which was the Proverbial Bellow. Glide is considered Night 4. Voice of Trespass doesn't have anything said, but from what it lyrically gives you, it's kind of sort of takes place slightly right before the events of Condemned to the Gallows on this album. I know we're definitely going to get to Voice of Trespass. We are. Oh, we are. And the Grid is kind of like the premiere, I guess, of this whole thing. But yes, as far as this album is concerned, with this half of this album, it's not the best half. They say that's the best half for today, which go out and get that too, and get this while you're at it as well. You need a whole experience. Perfect time to do it. Right now. Hans Organ's fine. It's short. It's the short, between that and Millions, and I think Gold Distance are like the shorter tracks. Really, the ones that, the longest, funny how the longer tracks, like the over 5 minute lapsing tracks, are like the best tracks on this entire project. It's kind of how sometimes prog metal is. No matter how extreme or anything like that. And, you know, the band has been kind of going a certain way since Colors, and, hence why I've decided to wear tie-dye. Amongst some other reasons, but I'll get to those later. The thing is, it's mostly deals with, this storyline deals with dreams as well, but it's more of a corporate operation, taking up some poor schmuck and using his dreams and broadcasting them to the world. And, you know, giving that horrific aspect of things. I guess that's where the whole more metal thing about it is. Or at least the one thing that's more progressive metal, I guess, about it is that sort of taking that kind of sort of idea of concept and that's twisted and finding ways to make it as interesting as possible in a very abstract or obscure way of doing it. And their music does come across that way, and that's really more the music themselves, and the way they execute it compositionally and production and all that stuff, as they've mostly stuck with the same guy. I think that's been producing their stuff since Alaska, or at least since this particular lineup that has been since Alaska, since they had gone through so many lineups up to that point, and have luckily stuck with that core lineup from Alaska onward. And honestly, I don't think their music started to get more interesting until actually their covers record. Even though a lot of people will talk about, why am I blanking on the track? I mean, you know, the first single that was off of Alaska I'm blanking on, and I shouldn't. Oh yeah, Selkie's the Obsession. Yeah, Selkie's the Obsession. Something like, I think that's what he's called. Yes. So, okay, there we go. And for this album, this one, my favorite tracks I would basically recommend you are Condemned to the Gallows, Yellow Eyes, Blot. Blot is awesome because of the sitar thing that they got going on to start with this. This track, for the most part, this entire project as a whole is essentially leading off from what we got out of Coma Ecliptic, not just in concept, but sound-wise, but adding more layers of what they've done in the past. With this first half, more so their Alaska and Silent Circus, which is apparently like, what, 10 years old now as an album, I think. A little over, I guess. And the thing is, Blot's good with that. Gold Distance has some moments. Yellow Eyes is definitely interesting. I'm trying to remember certain things exact with that, but besides the yellow thing, and I think it's more the way they start off the track, which actually is what is the thing that I remember the most on this track, because it comes off very much like a final boss kind of music. Like, I mean, how do I... You know what? I'm going to show you. Fuck it. I'm going to show you. Shut up. Radio. Sorry. Do it live! Don't you feel like you're playing like a boss in like a Final Fantasy game or like Chrono Trigger when you hear this? I mean, seriously, guys. And, oh yeah, that centaur. Let me get to that centaur, guys. I mean, seriously, just... And the centaur on blood. I mean, come on. Just stuff like that is just always what kind of keeps people interested and engaged in Between the Bear and Me when they throw stuff like this in. Not just their usual chuggy chug chugs, even though that is always nice. And their usual kind of squealy little, which is more, which you don't get enough of that as you do Colors. Colors was like that good sweet spot between what Alaska was and what they would start doing more later, from Great Misdirect onwards. And honestly, I would still prefer anything they'd done from Colors onwards as opposed to anything earlier. Probably why I didn't like that new Vane record of Aerozone. Why I'm probably not going to bother to talk about that, so not much shout out there with that. Anyways, I'm done talking about this one. I like it. It's just going to give thumbs up on this half, and then I'll just talk about what I feel the rest of the album is as a whole. And you'll get to that as very soon as the next half. This following up where Blot leaves off of Automata 2. Which is super nice, and like what I love about this album with tracks like this is the fact that with this, the thing that bothers me, look at how the track listing is. Like, it's literally it's asking for you to wait till this album comes. Lucas, I'm almost about to get this close to going Bucus. If you're watching this, you understand what I'm talking about. Anyone who doesn't understand it, watch his channel, see the stuff that says something Bucus, and then you'll get it. But you're welcome. Welcome, dude. It was Proverbial Bellow. It does kind of feel, it's honestly kind of this half surprisingly is considered the weakest, and it's actually the longest of the tracks too. That's the weird part too, compared to the last half of the previous half. And yet, as a whole, this is far better, because this half, you still get the Colors thing, but with this one, you get more of the meat of what I like I said before. I liked what it came to BT Bam, it's Colors onward. And this is a lot of that. And then some. And then some. See, the only reason why I'm a little kind of perturbed that, you fucking made us, you could have just released this whole thing at the same time. If you had to release it as a 2-disc set, fine. Instead of it actually being, a whole 10 track. But yet you do this, and you wonder why you do this, and you wonder why. And you wonder why I have every right to kind of get pissed, BT Bam. I may not have as much right as, say, someone I actually know you've kind of not really gotten what he liked and wanted since, he's pretty well just up the ass of Colors, and I can't say I blame him. But hopefully, he'll watch this. This person I'm talking about will watch this and check this out. Because, oh my gosh. Then after this, then the glide, we get into these sort of... That's where I think there's a lot of great misdirect elements of like the more sort of western, bluegrassy, sort of maybe kind of country-ish stuff happens. Not nearly to the extent of a certain particular track on the Great Misdirect, though, but they do start to kind of dabble into some of that kind of stuff. And something similar to what that kind of has a weird ending that kind of nicely transitions into the next track that just kind of comes off in a way kind of very Nova Collect. Like, in a way, you could say Glide is sort of very Nova Collective-ish. And then mix some of that with certain ideas that they did in the Parallax series. In terms of, like, the surf stuff that they did on one of those tracks that I'm blanking on which one it was called, and think that, but instead, think something like that of that era and time, but more in a very big band, Frank Sinatra, Rat Pack, big band, swing jazz fusion style of just maybe some surfy stuff. Just the way it's done is just woo shit. Just we're gonna listen to it. We're gonna listen to it. We're pulling some Devin Townsend project thing here with that. I mean. Just even more interesting is if I can find it. Fucking death growls with this. I now understand why some people are appealed to death and roll. You'd think it wouldn't work. You'd think it wouldn't work. But it fucking does. And what's great is that those growly moments kind of feel like they're meant to help with this transition back into, at certain points near the end of the song, back into what you normally expect of BT Bam. But by this point, you know, why? I mean, but it makes sense that they do it, you know, and that almost as if the drift growls serve as a sort of balancing barrier between what they normally do in their more metallic-esque way, but also kind of, while simultaneously doing that big, like, finds that certain middle ground, and it somehow they find a certain way of finding that particular catalyst to make this work, where other bands who try to do this would be like, that weren't BT Bam, or possibly Devin. Like, this is them bringing out their inner Devin Townsend. Like, they could see that coming out of him. Like, if he hasn't done that already, fucking with how much he's done with his work. Holy crap. And it's tracks like this this brings the inner Italian in me, and I'm not even really Italian, though I start to wonder with how hairy I am, but 10 out of 10, and they don't really do these, because y'all know I've kind of dated an Italian girl. You've met her, if you've kept up with my channel back in 2017, and maybe 16, I think. Anyway, but that's all I'll say about Rita on that. Hell, I wonder if she'd probably like this track if she stuck around longer. You know, but that's all we're going to leave with that. I'm trying to get over her as best as I can, and she's already done a better job of it than me, and I don't know. Anyway. And then we get to, like, the grid. And you'd think with how BT Bam does things, you'd think with going a softer route wouldn't work for BT Bam, but they've kind of already done it with Great Misdirect, and it didn't turn out too bad, and it definitely same here. And it kind of does a nice little sort of very reminiscent, like the way it ends when it gets to the one line of, of "We Are in This Together," they kind of, that line is all this acoustic looking type of number, sort of reminiscent to Great Misdirect, kinds of Western vibes and stuff. They really branch out a lot more on this record, where they give the Great Misdirects, the Parallax series, starts coming more, as well as some aspects of colors, even the bar stuff, you could say, start to come into play here. And this is one of, like, Voice Trespass, like I showed you, is, just, I can't even do that, snap to it, right? But, again, guys, overall, Automata 1, Automata 2, as a whole, the Automata series, Automata, I think I've been pronouncing that wrong this entire time, and I apologize. Y'all will probably say it in the comment section. For the second half, it is, just off of freaking Voice of Trespass alone, it bumps it up to this, man. And for that reason, as a whole, looking at it now as a whole, now that I have the complete package, this finds a way to be this and somehow border into Masterclass, though I can't say right at the moment that it's on the level of a certain album I have yet to review. And it's not of the two I mentioned early in the last vid. So, overall, guys, yeah, I kind of figured it was going to be a long video because, man, I got a lot of material here to go off of here. And a lot to want to talk about, which I've made it worth your while, hopefully. And for as far as I'm concerned, with the new BT Bam record, what did you guys think of the entire Automata series overall? No, I'm not going to do the one suggestive thing, even though I'm thinking about it. What did you think of these albums? Leave a comment below, let me know. You know, rock that like button with thrust for this video, if you must. Hit that subscribe button as well. And make sure you click the notification bells, or else you'll never see my vids. And then also rock that like button and follow me on Facebook. That's in the description below. And as always, guys, keep it random, keep it real, keep it rocking, like BT Bam somehow still does. Also, they've been on, speaking of that, they are now on Sumerian Records, apparently. Kind of a nice trade-off for this record label to have lost Periphery and then gained a band that's kind of influenced them, been a big influence on them in the process of this, and a record that most fans are actually happier with, since I guess they've left Metal Blade or something, since that was kind of the last couple of albums, series. Yeah, this is solid, definitely worth checking out, definitely is worth the wait. And in fact, I was willing to honestly bitch at the fact that we only got 4 freaking tracks, but the 4 freaking tracks we got are solid as fuck, as I had figured it would be, and they even knew it. You fucking knew it too. So you knew even if I decided to have a rave, there would be no reason for me to actually bitch. Okay, I got a little bit of that out of my way. As always, guys, keep it random, keep it real, keep it rocking, and I will see you all in the next video, whenever that may be, whatever that may be. Maybe I'll talk about my first experience back with the band, since you know, things are settling in for some of our band members who are just, you know, decided to pop out to have work something out with their girlfriends, pop out to kids, stuff like that. It sounds like it's awful, but it is what it is. I mean, but anyway, take care, y'all. Hopefully you enjoyed this, for I did too.